That's fun.
Hi
Ah,
everyone, Sue Matsuki here with another Sue's Muse for Nightlife Exchange. Today I have two dear old, not in the age category
well,
realm, but old friends that I've known for a long time that have been on the circuit for a long time, and I am just fascinated by both of them. Please welcome Jenna Esposito and her dad, Fortune Esposito. Hi guys,
Hey,
nice
hi.
to
Sid.
see you. Jenna is in Italy somewhere, just enjoying the sun,
Yeah,
whatever.
the sun remote Philly.
So I want to start with you, Jenna. Jenna and I met at a cabaret thing in Colorado, and a bunch of us met there. Gretchen Reinhagen and Maureen. What was Maureen's last name? Maureen
Taylor.
Taylor, and a bunch of others, Irenka. And so a bunch of us went there, and I was just blown away by Jenna's voice, so much so that I asked her who she studied with, which was the late, great Shirley Calloway. And I actually started studying with Shirley, hoping that someday I too would have a big belt voice like Jenna, but it never happened. Um, but Jenna was one of those singers that had the it factor back then. And then we all came back to New York, and I had been doing cabaret, but you kind of started out down the Metropolitan Room at Laurie Beachman. Tell me what your first impressions of the art form of cabaret was so that I can understand how you made the decision to transition.
Yeah, well, when I first moved to the city, I moved to the city in 2003, and I wanted to sing. And I'd done a couple, cabaret shows or upstate with my dad. And so when I moved to the city, I got myself into Danny's Skylight Room, and I did my first show there, and the room was packed with friends and relatives. And then I did my second show there, and there were four people in the audience. That was
Welcome
my
to
Well,
introduction to
cabaret, y'all.
I was
cabaret.
just gonna say, welcome to Cabaret, right?
So that was my first impression. But as an introduction to the cabaret community, what I did, I asked Don Schaefer, who was running Danny's Skylight Room, what I could do to meet more people in the community, and he sent me to Jim Caruso's cast party. And so that's how I really started meeting people in the community. And then I went from Dandy's Skylight Room to the Duplex, to the Laurie Beachman when that opened, to the Metropolitan Room, always kind of looking for the next step up, in the world of cabaret and the scheme of those rooms. I got to play Feinstein's, and that was for me like the pinnacle of cabaret
Me
in the
too.
city.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so and I got to know these wonderful people and realized what a supportive and great community it is. And I did the Yale program with Irv Rabel, and then the following year we did Perry Mansfield in Colorado together, and it was a great introduction, and I really learned a lot about the world of cabaret and what goes into putting one together. And it's not just singing, it's sculpting a journey.
Right.
How do you get from point A, the beginning song, to point B, the end song? And you take a musical journey, and there's acting involved and storytelling. And so it really was educational for me to go to these training programs and then put it into action with the shows I did at all these great clubs in the city.
Hmm. Now, when Fortune, you are a music teacher, and Jenna and her sister Kelly grew up in a house of music. What kind of music did you play back then as a family? What was on your record player back in the day?
Um, Pretty much a lot, a lot of stuff from my growing up here, which was the '60s. Um, so I guess in the long run, it had more of an influence on Jenna than Kelly.
Yeah, because
But
Kelly was more studying classical musical theater and
Kelly
classical,
was
right? Yeah.
classical and went in, actually was studying opera. Yeah. Um, Jenna started out with the same voice teacher. Actually, Jenna was afraid to take voice lessons because she was afraid that she wouldn't be allowed to belt anymore. This was at 11 years old, Sue.
You know what? I
So
know her. It doesn't surprise me.
she wanted to be Andy, so she had a belt, and
When
so
did
the
you know
second,
that both girls had talent? I mean, you say at 11, Jenna started belting
yeah.
and wanted to be Annie, but when did you really, as a music teacher who had an ear, when did you say, oh my goodness, my two girls are so talented?
Well, I directed a um, folk choir. We did a Catholic mass at church in town where we attended, um, and I had a folk group. We were guitars and voices, and I think Kelly might have been what, Jenna, 6, and you were 3, or maybe
Mhm.
maybe 7 and 4, but I think more like 6 and 3, and they were singing in the folk group because that's what Dad did. So they came, they would come every Sunday morning and rehearse with us,
That's
and
pretty awesome.
yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So I got to hear them singing publicly firsthand.
So I want to
Um,
talk about how you transitioned from, cabaret and the tremendous loss of losing money with four people in the audience to creating this niche, which I have always admired. You have this American Italian background, you have this big belt voice, you have this Connie Francis-esque sound to you, yet you are still Jenna Esposito. When did you make the decision, or how did you make the decision, or did you get an offer from San Gennaro? And how did that all start? Because the one thing that I admire most about you is the fact that you found a place to make money, first of all, but secondly, that you're doing the music that you both love. That's your heritage, that's your background, that you can include your dad and now even your nephew and your grandson, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Tell me how that transition happened and why you went, oh my goodness, this is such a great idea.
Yeah, it started with the Connie Francis tribute, which I put together between 2008 and 2009. So 2009 was when I started performing it. And it was a couple things. It was, first of all, realizing that to do a show like that, I needed a big band and
Mhm.
background vocalists. And there's literally no way to make money doing that in a cabaret room. There's just not. They're too small.
Unless
And
you have your family and good friend Rob Langater and Kelly Maureen
right.
on as your backup singers.
But but yeah, no, and to pay them what they should be paid.
Yeah,
There's no way to do it without losing money.
yeah.
But the other thing is the Connie Francis show opened doors for me because I started singing her Italian music. And that was a big part of her career, and it subsequently became a big part of my career. So when I started singing her Italian songs, and then in 2010, I put together my first, Great Italian American Songbook show, which caught the attention of the San Gennaro people. So I started getting booked at San Gennaro. And then I realized there's this whole big world out there of Italian festivals. And I don't have to worry about bringing the audience because they show up no matter
Mhm.
who's on stage. I mean, they'll stay for me because we have a great
Italians
band.
will go anywhere for a good cannoli, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So like I started doing these festivals. I'm like, wow, this is great. And then, my Connie Francis show got picked up by the Empire City Casino, and we would do it there a couple of times a year. And then I got invited to do Birdland. I worked with Jim Van Slyke, who does a great Neil Sedaka tribute. And we put my Connie Francis and his Neil Sedaka together at the Friars Club in honor of both of them. And Neil Sedaka came, and Connie
Uh,
sent a video message, and it was pretty
You
amazing.
actually became friends with Connie. Connie was
Yeah.
sanctioned your product and loved what you did. I remembered that. It was, my condolences for her loss to you, but I know she was very special to you.
She was. I got very lucky. So in that run back in 2009, it's a long story, but she ended up receiving a bootleg copy of the recording from the booth at the Metropolitan Room. We made a CD of it, but we were still in the original run of the show. We hadn't mixed anything. And I got an email from her saying how much she enjoyed my renditions of her songs. And I thought it was fake. I was like, who would do this? This is so cool. And it wasn't fake. I managed to track it down. It really was her. Her niece actually called me the following day and said, no, I know you think this may not be legit, but it is. I don't know how she got this recording, but I do know that she loved it.
Mhm.
And so the next time Connie was in town, she invited me and the family to go see the show, invited us backstage. I asked her what her favorite type of cookie is in true Italian fashion, and it was pinoli cookies. So I made her pinoli cookies that we brought backstage. And so from then on, anytime she'd be in town, we would get together. And then I actually got to sing for her. Tony DeSera was playing at Bemelman's Bar, and mutual friends of ours were taking Connie to hear him. So he was so kind. He reached out to me and he said, Jenna, I know Connie's coming to hear me tomorrow with you and a group of other friends. Would you like to do a couple songs for her?
Oh, wow.
And and Tony doesn't
What a
accompany
generous,
people.
yeah, Tony's a very generous and wonderful man,
He
but
he
that's
is. And
beautiful.
and that's not his thing. He accompanies himself. I'd never seen him accompany another singer.
Mm.
So for him to offer that to me was just so special. And so I did. And Bemelman's Bar is so intimate. And
Yeah.
Connie's like 15 feet away from me. And I did Who's Sorry Now? And I was like numb. I was like, I can't believe I'm singing this for Connie Francis. And it got to the middle of the song where it modulates up, and there's a little pause in the singing, and one man started clapping, and then the whole room started clapping, including Connie. I was like, all right, I got this. So I did it in the higher key, and then she asked Tony, "Isn't Jenna gonna sing something else?" So he got me up the next set to do Tango de la Gelosia, which she had actually singled out as her favorite song of mine in my tribute to her. And at the end of the evening, she took my hands and said, "Jenna, I love you." And
Aw,
it was amazing.
how
So we
beautiful.
remained friends. And my husband Jimmy and I actually we saw her a couple years ago. We were in the Fort Lauderdale area getting ready to go on a cruise, and I reached out to her and she said, "Yeah, come over for lunch." So we went to Connie's
As you
house.
know, one does, has lunch with Connie Francis, you know.
Exactly. And it's fun. We brought over a big box of Italian pastries, and
Oh,
it's funny
cool.
though. She was like, "All right, get in the car. We're going to Benihana's." Like, what? So Jimmy drove us all to Benihana, me and Connie and her friend Paulette, and we had a great time. And I just got to ask her a lot of questions that I'd wanted to ask over the years,
Hmm.
like, why didn't your dad like Bobby Darin? And her response was very simple. It was because he was male.
As all
And
good dads should feel
Yeah, of
about their
course.
beautiful
Hey,
daughters,
come
right? Fortune, let me talk to you a little bit about did you ever believe, like, here you are, the dad of a musical family. Did you ever believe that your little girl was going to be pulling you into places like Cutting Room and
on.
Birdland? And,
No.
I mean, how fabulous is that, that you got to take this ride with not just one, but both of your daughters?
Yeah. Sue, I remember the first show we played in New York. What was it? It's Danny's,
Danny,
right? And I literally stepped off to the side and pinched myself
No.
and said, "You're on a stage in Manhattan, and you're the music director. So wake up and let's go." Yeah. No, I never dreamt. I'll take that back. In my wildest dreams, at some point, it was like it would be really fun if we could do stuff together. That's all. That's as close as I got to dreaming that. But in Manhattan, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than that. And doing it with your family. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. What a blessing.
It's funny, when I was in Alaska, I remember everybody say, I'd say, well, you're singing here, you're singing there. And their comment was always, yeah, but you're doing it in New York. And we take that for granted because, first of all, we can walk into any piano bar and have Billy Stritch play for her or Tony DeSitter, and other people don't get that experience. I'm going to ask you both this. I'm going to ask this first of Jenna. Where was the gig where you lifted up your head and you went, holy crap, look where I am? What was that gig? What was that moment?
I think it was Birdland, the
Yeah.
first Birdland show. I mean, because to me, that was always like the elite nightclub in the city. And, I've been a regular at Cat's Party for years. So to have been going to Cat's Party for nearly 10 years and then finally be invited to do a headline show there,
Yeah.
that was like, wow. Like, I feel like I finally made it to that level.
Yeah. I felt that way at Birdland too. Joan and I shared a show there, and that was one of the gigs where I raised my head and went, holy smokes. How about
Yeah.
you, Fortune?
I would say the same.
Well, as a
And
jazz piano guitarist too, I mean, that's got to be the
yeah,
ultimate, right?
it got even, it hit me even more when the guys in my band, who are very accomplished musicians, were like, "We're playing Birdland. These guys they're so good, and they've been doing it for so long." And that was their reaction.
Yeah.
So it made it even more exciting for me that, hey, these guys are reacting like this. And again, here we are on a stage in Manhattan, and it's Birdland to top it off. So yeah, I would say that and probably Feinstein for me.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about musicians a little bit. Jenna and I, we share a bass player every now and then, Skip Ward, the great Skip Ward, who has nothing but wonderful things to say about working with you. And he's so impressed. He said, her voice is just like you think, oh, she can't go any, oh, there it is. That's how he describes your voice. But you've now brought in, from the time he was a little kid, Charlie, your grandson and your nephew, Kelly's son. So it's really, really a family affair at this point. And Charlie, why did he go to drums and not guitar? Or, did you teach him Fortune? How did that happen?
Go
Well,
ahead, John.
we
It
when he was less than two, he was around
was like
as a
18 months.
baby when I was doing my Connie Francis show.
Mhm.
And we made the recording of it and he loved listening to it. And so we all would go to Kelly's house on the weekend for brunch. And I took Charlie out to the living room and he started tapping out this rhythm on the coffee table. I was like, "Charlie, can you do that again?" So he did it again. And that's the opening rhythm to the song Vacation by Connie Francis. And so I called my dad and Kelly, come here. I said, Charlie, do it again. He tapped it out perfectly.
Perfectly.
And he would, from then on, he would set up little makeshift drum kits for himself, like with a plate, a pot, a pan, and be banging out stuff.
So
And
he
so,
chose the drums. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, or the drums chose him, something
they
like
Yeah.
chose
that.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And mom and dad
Um,
bought him a little baby drum kit the following Easter. And you can tell the story, Dad, about the pacifier.
well, one of my favorite photos. I mean, you've seen jazz drummers with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth. Excuse me, I know it's calling me.
Oh, that's okay.
Very
Ooh,
important, Dad.
okay, sorry.
That's
Um,
okay.
it didn't
I
say
get
it was calling.
motorcycles going by every now and then on my
Yeah.
house.
um, but what my favorite picture of Charlie obviously wasn't a cigarette. He's sitting at this new little drum kit with a pacifier hanging out of his mouth and, and playing. I mean, it was just amazing.
Oh,
But that
adorable.
first time we heard him tap out that rhythm, he was literally holding himself up at the coffee table because he wasn't really, getting around yet. But it was mind blowing.
So does
And
he want to be a musician or is this a hobby?
nope, he's his first year of college. He's finishing up. He's an exercise science major. He looks like he's built like Mr. America
Yeah, I've
now.
seen him. Oh my God. I follow you guys because I'm so, the Waltons exist in the Esposito family. Let me just say that their mother Sheila is the salt of the earth. I mean,
Yeah,
Jimmy's had some health issues. Your family just rallies around any of us watching your family. I've said this to you before many times, Jen. I covet the love that your family has for each other and how you're always there for each other. So, Fortune, you just celebrated a landmark birthday of
oh my goodness.
75. God bless you. Happy
Yes,
birthday.
thank you.
What guitar did you get? The family offered him any guitar he wanted. What guitar did you land on?
It was amazing. Yeah, like a week before, Sheila, my wife, said to me, "Nobody knows what to get you for your birthday." And off the top of my head, I said, "How about a new guitar?" And I thought I was kidding. So yeah, they gave me a certificate, and it basically said, "Go to the music store, try out as many guitars as you want, pick the one out that you want." And Sheila handed me her credit card. So
Nice.
I tried out, I think, 7 guitars, Sue, that day, and they were, except one, they were all acoustic electric like I play now. So hollow body electric, not solid body. The one that I ended up picking out it's an iconic guitar. It's a classic. It's a Gibson SG, and this one is an SG Supreme. So it has all these cool little bells and whistles. That's
Awesome.
not the one I thought I would pick. I kind of felt like that's something in the back of my mind. I always thought it would be really cool to have an SG.
Yeah. I
So
would have guessed a Les Paul. I don't know why, but
20 years ago, I would have picked the Les Paul. It's so heavy.
is it really?
Oh my goodness! It
My
may
dad
be.
was a tool and die guy. He made the front part of the guitar. My father was the one that pressed
Wow.
that in Waterbury,
Oh
Connecticut at
wow!
Acme Steel Rule and Die. I never
How did
knew
I
it was
never
a
know
heavy
this?
one.
That's amazing.
I'm this
That's
close to fame.
Yeah, but the Les Paul may be the heaviest guitar
Really?
out there.
Wow.
And at 75, I didn't think I wanted to hunch over while I was playing. So there is an SG model that's a Les Paul model. So at some point he played this SG, but I love it. I'm probably going to do a Facebook Live show soon, so I can give it in a
Oh,
show
good.
setting. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe this Sunday night. Actually, I'm not sure yet,
Well, let me
but
know. I'll pop in.
I will.
Yeah.
But that's the guitar I will use, obviously, for the show.
So
Very
what
cool.
gigs are coming up for you? The Italian season doesn't start until August, and then you're busy, right?
Right, then it's a lot of festivals. We actually have an early festival. This will be our third time there. It's June 14th in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Their Feast of St. Anthony, which it's a lot of fun. And
It
so we're
is.
going to do that one. And then I actually have a really exciting gig in August in Long Island at Eisenhower Park, which is it's an elite concert series, and this is my first booking there. I've done a lot of the Long Island concert series the past, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, but Eisenhower Park is a biggie in the Harry Chapin Lakeside Theater, so that's gonna
Stage
be
is
fun.
amazing, amazing.
And then
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. And over
If
the
I can
summer,
interrupt for a second,
yeah.
one of the cool things about that, besides this amazing stage, Sue, Jenna is the headliner. We actually have an opening act that's opening for.
Over the
It's
Fantastic.
another
year.
one of.
As well it
One
should be.
yeah, but
Yeah,
another one of those moments where it's like, oh my goodness, right, Jenna?
That sounds
Yeah,
like
it's
a prog
crazy.
papa braying a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
A little bit. But yeah, we do over the summer. We'll be doing a lot of bungalow colonies up in the Catskills. We do that. Probably another Villa Roma gig next month. Those, it's funny. I love Villa Roma, but it's always very last minute. It's like, hey, can you
Yeah,
sing next Friday?
yeah.
Okay.
Well, what I'm
Uh,
going to do is right below this interview, I'm going to
yeah,
have a link to Jetta's website, her calendar. I'll put up a little clip of her
beautiful.
singing. So just after you watch this video, just scroll down and you'll have links to everything to learn about where she's going to be and whatever, and how to buy tickets and all that. I have a really pressing question.
Uh-oh.
Yankees.
Yeah.
How did it come to, why not the Mets? I'm a Yankee fan too, but I'm from Lou Thurman, Munson and Reggie Jackson. That's when I was a Yankee fan. Fortune, was this your doing that your daughters are Yankee fans? I
It's actually
suspect so.
my dad's doing. Yeah. He and his brothers.
It's a generational thing.
Oh, it is a generational thing. Yeah, I my first real memory is probably around 7 of watching. But when we were upstate, they were on maybe once a week on the weekend. It's not like it is now where you can watch every game. Um, I had an uncle who would always be screaming at the TV anything they did wrong. These bums, they can't hit. But he was a diehard Yankee fan, so the whole family was Yankee fans. Mickey Mantle was my guy, and I just
That's when I
passed it on.
started coming to New York. It's like we get in the wood paneled station wagon. We drive to New York. We'd see a Yankee game, and
Yeah.
so I have fond memories, and it was always the Yankees. And Jenna, you sang the national anthem one time, right?
Well, I've sung it for all of their minor league affiliates. I have yet to get to Yankee Stadium. That's a big goal of mine. I'm working on it. But yeah, I sing actually, even though it is a Mets affiliate, I sing several times a year for the Cyclones because I'm in Brooklyn, and so are they. So it's an easy ride. But yeah, I've hit all single A, double A, triple A for the Yankees. And I've got a couple more coming up this summer. But ultimately, if I can sing at Yankee Stadium, I will feel like I've accomplished a lifelong goal. So that's still out there.
Awesome. Well, we're going to wish that for you. Now, in closing down this interview, because we keep these brief, I'm so happy to just spend some time with you and to kind of catch up on what you're doing and everything. Jenna, I want to close by asking you, what was some of the best advice your dad ever gave you about the business or just in life in general?
Two things. So one thing, especially that came into play when I had those four people in the audience, he always said, no matter who's in the audience, you sing like there is the biggest agent in the world out there. You never know who's going to change your life, and the people that are there deserve your best.
That's
So
right.
that's huge, and to this day that sticks with me. But also the other thing, which he told all of his students as a junior high school music teacher, and he would produce the musicals and direct the musicals at the school and the high school. He would say, when you are on that stage and under the spotlights, you have to think you are the best singer in the world. The moment you step off the stage, that goes in your back pocket. And
Gotcha.
it's true. You have to have the confidence when you're on the stage. You have to.
Yeah.
Because if you second guess yourself or worry if you're going to hit that note, it's going to show. You need to have that self-assurance and think you are the best singer in the world. But if you have the ego when you walk off stage, you are going nowhere.
Yeah.
So, be
It's
kind to
interesting
everybody.
because you and I both were beloved by Julie Wilson, and she was a very big part of our life. Julie gave the exact same first advice. And the second advice, she had a little variation of if you don't think you're good enough to be on stage, why are you on stage? So deep in your soul, you know you have talent, or who would get on stage. So you have to embrace that part of you no matter what insecurity. And then, like Ella Fitzgerald, she said, embrace the nerves because those nerves are endorphins and are what makes you getting on stage exciting. So it's pretty much you're in the advice category of some great people there, Fortune.
Oh,
So
and I have one
I
piece of
love it.
advice from Julie Wilson. She gave me my other favorite piece of advice. In addition to those two from Dad, if they ask you to sing, the answer is yes.
yes, there you go.
You never turn it down. And no matter who it's for or how big the gig, you just if you can make it work, you make it work. And that's really helped me out over the years.
That's awesome. Thank you both so much. And thank you for watching, everyone out there, for Nightlife Exchange. This is another part of nightlife singing. It might not be cabaret as defined, but Jenna always still maintains a connection to her lyric. You can see her pretty much any Monday night at Cast Party. And I'll have her listings below, so maybe you can catch her in your neighborhood soon. Thank you both for joining us. Jenna Esposito, Fortune Esposito, have a great day. And thanks
Thanks,
for
you.
joining us. We'll see you next time, everyone.
Thanks for having us, Sue.